Hello, everyone, and welcome to the original and the very first Monday night with Door. Look, I've been sort of saying that I was going to do this for a little while, but a few things have come up, being sick, magic round, haven't had enough time. So, yes, finally got it all sorted, and we are here ready to go. Look, what do you sort of expect or what can you guys sort of expect for Monday nights with Door? Look, we're going to go through the round that was. So round 10 was the round that just went this past weekend, Women in League round, and what a round it was. We'll go into, the NRL scores, have a chat about a bit about the games. We'll also go into previewing and reviewing our fantasy team, as well as, like I said, previewing what the all-out team needs to do in the coming weeks, or potentially some players that we are looking in to get into our side, as well as that you should look to get into yours. And then as well, look, it's that wonderful time of the year where it is State of Origin time. So look, at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys my State of Origin teams for round one, and you can tear me to shreds or agree with me. Also, let your comments be known in the comment section on YouTube and whatnot. So, look, without further ado, let's get into our team. Look, the all-out team, we scored 1,003 points, as you probably would have saw from our post today. Look, everything's going not too bad for the all-out team. Look, we did have to unfortunately sell Corey Horsburgh. Look, it was going to be either that or potentially risk Jenkins with the minutes. We didn't know how many minutes Jenkins was going to end up playing. And as you can see here, look, he ended up, I think, playing around like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, but very he got helped very much by that extra time. So, look, an extra 10 minutes there. So, look, played around 30 minutes without that, but he got 40, so 36 points. Look, you'll take that. He ended up crossing over for a big pie. And, look, it's break even of 17. So, with the bye this week for Penrith, Jenko's definitely a hold. Look, we've held strong with Ayongi throughout the whole season, and he's really starting to get onto a bit of a roll of late. Look, 53 points on the weekend. I think just with Moses coming back, he has really started to really fire. Look, 53 points. Look, it's all happening for him. A couple of try assists, a line break. The tackle busts are starting to come as well. So if you look at what he was producing at the start of the season to what he's sort of produced these last couple of weeks with Moses coming back, it is looking very, very nice for Isaiah Yongi. Special matchup this week against Newcastle. I know they're probably looking to bounce back after an insipid second half last weekend against the Titans. But look, Ayongi is break even to 21. There's still some more cash to be made. But like I said just before, we had to get rid of Corey Horsburgh, unfortunately, because he was only the real one that we could trade with Jenkins playing the bye round, and we believe Corey Horsburgh being selected for Origin. He was the one that unfortunately had to go. You would have seen our post last week in regards to our trades. So the Kiraz and Horsburgh one was a bit of a late one after Jenkins didn't get named in the starting side. So that happened basically just before kickoff of the Raiders Bulldogs game on Saturday afternoon. But yes, we got rid of Jacob Preston, unfortunately, after that 4-week suspension. We got in big Dylan Lucas, and he really did not disappoint. And then the one and only Fletcher Sharpedo, we got him in for Mamazoulis. So they both went absolutely unbelievable. 69 points for Lucas, 59 for Sharp. So they were great buys. It was great to see Katoga come back with a really good performance last weekend, 55 points. So that was really good. There's going to be some more money to be made there. Purdue starting to starting to hit the brakes, unfortunately, unless he can go out this weekend to get like a 60 or 70 against Manly. I'd be holding him for this week, but then I think he's a definite sell candidate potentially after this week for that first bye round, as the Cowboys don't play round 12. So yeah, look, Purdue's been absolutely unreal for us. Fogarty still kicking along. Cleary, great performance from him. Olakawatu, look, Manly were really, really poor yesterday afternoon, but Olakawatu still managed to get 44, so we're very happy with that. Look, Aaron Clark's just been outstanding. So he's just absolutely teeing off at the moment. So hopefully he can continue that with Barnett potentially back this week. So we'll see how Aaron Clark goes. But look, I think, oh, not Barnett, should I say, Fisher Harris coming back this week. So I think Barnett should be picked for Origin. We will discuss that a bit later, but I think Barnett should feature in the 17 somewhere for New South Wales. So yeah, look, while Fisher Harris comes back this week and might steal a few minutes off Aaron Clark, I think next week he should still have really good minutes with Barnett's likely exclusion. So look, Yo was great as well. He bounced back. I think he had 50 in round 9. So he bounced back with a 78 there. So that's great to see from Isaiah Yo. And then you've got Payne Haas with 140 as captain, 70 with our captaincy, and 64 from Tyrrell May, 64 from May in a side that got beaten. I think it was 64-0. So yeah, that was very special from him. Look, there were a couple of unfortunate performances in the fact of Tamale and Ponga. Look, Tamale really didn't get much ball when the Raiders were up or teeing off in that first half, should I say, in that 20-0 scoreline. And then, look, you know what happened in the second half. The Raiders barely had any balls. So, yeah, Tamale, look, a bit of an average one, but he's definitely a hold in my opinion, especially with the Raiders playing next week in the bye, the major bye round, should I say, round 12. Look, break even is only 38, so it's not like too high at the moment. It's getting up there. So he, like Purdue, but at least he plays next week. So I'd be holding Tamale till after that major buy round, and then you can potentially upgrade him to someone else. So yeah, and look, Ponga, he had a great round at Magic Round, but he was not it last weekend. Only got 22 points. So yeah, that was very disappointing. Kiraz 57 got him in. He was unreal, just like our other trades of Lucas and Sharp. He really gobbled, and we're really hoping that New South Wales don't pick Kiraz for State of Origin. Plenty of money to be made there with that 32 break even. And look, yeah, play center and wing fullback. Dylan Egan, he didn't get the start. We believe that was due to Luciano Leilua's milestone game. But look, Egan still came off the bench, and look, he got 57 points. He did score a try, thank God for that, because he only played 50 minutes last week. So it seems like he plays, if you're going off the last month or so, he plays one big week, then he has around a 45 to 50 minute game, and then he goes back to that high 70 minutes again, or around 70 minutes again. So hopefully he's back to 70 minutes and starting this week. Now it's not a Leilua milestone game. And yeah, he continues to gobble. Look, great break even. We're very happy. 26 BE. They're versus the Broncos this week, so that will be interesting. I will be there on Sunday for that Sunday afternoon game at Suncorp. So very much looking forward to a hopeful Broncos bounce back, but a great performance still from Dylan Egan. Lachlan Hubner, yes. Look, I thought he was actually going to play a few more minutes than he did on the weekend. I was a bit disappointed. I only played the 46 minutes. But look, he still looked very busy, and we can't complain with that. But if we're sort of looking at the all-out team, I'm thinking that he might have to go potentially this week due to South not playing this round 12 bye, as we can see the teams that are playing that round 12 bye at the top of the screen here. So yeah, look, Hubner could be one that needs to go. unfortunately. So, yeah, we need a middle. I'll touch on a few options, but just quickly before we really go into him, I think someone like, I know we've already got 3 Newcastle players, but someone like a Jacob Saifidi could be the player that we want to bring in this week. We need a middle, and I think that there's a real chance there. Especially with the Panthers on the bye. I really think that he is probably the out-to-out best middle option. There is another option we can do is we could move on Hubner and get in Riley Smith. Riley Smith has been really, really good lately. I will touch on all these guys in a second, but yeah, look, Riley Smith, 52 points last week, break even of 7. It'll be interesting to see how TLT goes tomorrow, and hopefully Riley Smith stays as the starting 9, and we don't see Hands and Lussick coming in on the bench. So yeah, look, Jenko, I've already touched on him. We're going to keep him for the bye, and now our Roosters players. So we've got Wong, Savala, and Mark Nawakatawase. Or Marky Mark. Look, he's 524k. Marky Mark is. He's still got the duel. I think the Roosters players you can see up here, they're versing the Sharks next week in the major bye round. So I don't think we'll be. We definitely won't be selling Marky Mark. We'll be keeping him for the next couple of weeks. And the same thing really applies for the likes of Hugo Savala and Sua Wong as well. Savala, look, break even of -15. That is beautiful stuff. If you don't have Savala, make sure you get him in as soon as possible. And look, Wong, he's just been plodding along basically. He's getting around like 40s to 50 points. Hopefully with that week off, we start to see Wong come back and get those 60s and 70s like he was at the start of the season. If we have a look at Wong's season here, if we can get some of these 80 performances here, or these high 50s. Look, the last couple of weeks haven't even been that bad. 245s and a 51. So look, yeah, can't complain with Wong. And with him playing that bye round, look, he's definitely going to be staying in the side. So yeah, like I said, 1,003. That's back-to-back 1,000 weeks. We got a 1,040 in round 9 as well. So hopefully this week in round 11, we can go ahead and do the same. Now, before I go into sort of some players to buy for this week before TLT tomorrow, let's have a look at the All-Out League and see who we've got. So we've got Rasta Thames is on top of the All-Out League, and he is actually second in the world as well. So congratulations, Rasta. Look, he had an absolute humdinger from Rasta last week. 1,106 points. So he got an extra 103 points from him. Look, Aaron Clark again, just like us, 70 points. He's got the same middles as we do, Haas, Yo, May. Edges, he's got Lucas and Couchman. Look, Couchman's been killing it, but I don't know if you guys have heard, but Couchman's unfortunately out for a few weeks. He'll be back, I believe. Let me just quickly check. I believe for Couchman, he is back in round 14, but I'm just going to quickly just double check now so I'm not telling you guys wrong information. Yeah, so he's out for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, look, round 11 this week, 12:30. So he'll be back in round 14. It's looking like for Couchman. So that is definitely something to monitor. And look at this, like this is a real stunning side that Rust has got here. Cameron Munster there. Look, unfortunately, he won't be playing in the next couple of weeks due to Origin. He'll play this week, but then we'll miss round 12, even if the Storm were playing, but they aren't anyway. So, look, he's definitely one to monitor, especially with how the Storm are going thus far this season. And a big Origin series, we could see Munster rest and not play some of those games after Origin. Look, Cleary, we explained that. Herbie Farnworth, look, that is a great purchase or a great player to have. Herbie Farnworth, he's just been outstanding thus far this season. 70. Unfortunately, like I said, with Olakawatu for our team, yes, Garrick also struggled for Manly as well. So he was only able to get 25 points. But the big ones here, he's got Sharp, just like we do, Iongi, and Ryan Pappenhausen. That's a big one with the ton for Ryan Pappenhausen. Geez, he was special yesterday, 36 points. Scored just by himself of the Storm's team total of 64 yesterday. So congratulations, Pappy. That was some performance. And then on the bench here, he's got Tavanga. That look, he's making a little bit of money and scoring some solid points there for Manly on the bench. There didn't play as many minutes as he had the last couple of weeks before last weekend, but look, he still managed to get 41 points. He's got a break even of 9. I've got Tavanga in my own personal team. Look, he didn't get that 69, 70 minutes that he did the week before, but he's basically nearly going at a point a minute. So Tavanga at lock is proving to be absolutely stunning. Katoga, same as us. Look, he's going well. Riley Smith, yeah, look, he's probably someone coming in for the all-out team this week. Dylan Egan, 57. And look, he's still got Horsburgh there as well. So he'll be back in for Rasta this week. And then he'll probably have to maybe start with, he's got Wong there on the bench. So he's got Wong, Toya, and Savala there. So that is a stunning team from Rasta. So yeah, congratulations for leading the all-out comp and being second in the world. But before we go, let's just finish up here in terms of the fantasy side of things here. So look, in regards to the all-out team here, so we've obviously got Isaiah Yeo that is going to be out this weekend due to the Penrith having the bye. So look, just a potential movement here. Look, I don't think necessarily Hubner's like he's 100% a sell. But from what the all-out team's got at the moment, he's really the only player that probably has to go. So in my opinion, we're looking at someone like a Riley Smith. Here he's at 435K. We're going to hope that he continues to get that starting jersey, and we're going to trade in Riley Smith. Look, we don't have that many trades, so I don't think we're probably going to do any more trades outside of this one. Unless we decide to get rid of Isaiah Yeo over this Origin period and maybe get in someone like a Joe Tarpany. But look, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to start with Riley Smith. We got Aaron Clark. We're going to move him into the middle with Haas and May. I think with the likes of Yeo, if you're in the same situation as us and you've got the likes of Yeo, Haas and May in your middles, I think if you've got to get rid of one to potentially get in like a Tarpany or someone like that, I think that Aaron Clark is, or not Aaron Clark, should I say? I think that Yeo is the one that needs to go. I think you've got to keep Haas and May. They're just a different gravy. And if you look at their price, 965 and 985, and Yeo is around the 800 mark, 799. So I think if you've got to get rid of one of those gun middles, I think it is definitely Isaiah Yeo that needs to make way. So yes, that's one option we can do is we've got Riley Smith get him in as hooker. And then we've got Aaron Clark there in the middle. Or if we want to turn our team instead of the all-out NRL fantasy team, we'll turn it into the all-out Newcastle Knights team, is that we could get in someone like a Jacob Saifidi. Look, he's lost 108K for the year, but big news today, Leo Thompson's actually been ruled out of the Newcastle Knights game this weekend. So look, Saifidi's already been absolutely eating, and he's going to continue to do that this week against Parramatta, and then they play Penrith next week in the bye round. So you can see just when I get to it here, the Friday night, the first game, Knights versus Eels, no Leo Thompson. So there is a chance we could do something just like get rid of Hubner and swap in someone like a Jacob Saifidi. Now, look, Jacob Saifidi, 60 points last week, a break even of 13. He's averaging 32.8 for the season, but I think you'll find that his last few games have really, he's been starting to gobble. So look, outside of this 1 point in round 5, which is probably bringing down his 3-round average, look, if you look the last couple of weeks, he's got 51 points against South, and then he's got 60 points against the Titans. So, and we're seeing 47 minutes here against South, and then we're seeing 56 minutes against the Titans last week. I really like this. I like this buy. I think he's lost 108k, so break even of 13. Look, I think he's easily going to get 50 points this week. So look, if he gets that, he's going up like 40k. Look, he's making 81. He's basically making like 100 and like 20k over the next three rounds. And we know, as we've touched on many times on our podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that the Knights don't have a bye until round 18. So look, I think that there's some really, really good gains to be made here, and he's a bit cheaper than Riley Smith, I believe. Sofidi. So we're going to make 2k if we get rid of him for Hubner. So that is another really good deal or move that we can make this week. It's just whether we want to have 4 Newcastle Knights in our team. Look, we're definitely going to keep Ponga this week, but there is a chance we could move Ponga on the week after. Look, our trades are starting. It's not really, really bad at the moment, but it's 18 trades left. We need to really start to be watching those trades. So yeah, look, I'm going to probably say let's go the Saifidi route. I've sort of talked myself into that one. And we've got Lucas and Olakawatu here in the back row. I'm probably thinking with how things have been playing out of late, I think we're probably going to move Wong in the starting second row here. And then we're going to move probably Purdue out, I'm thinking. We're going to get Kiraz into starting with Ponga and Sharp. And we're going to try and probably loop someone. So we've got, I'd say, Jenkins here. And then we have to sort of pick. So the Roosters are versing the Bulldogs this week. So that's going to be a tough one there. And look, the Raiders have a good matchup against the Titans, so we're definitely going to be playing Tamale, and I think we're going to loop. It's going to be hard here. Yongi plays, in the first game of the round. Purgie's been great for us all season, so I think it's going to be the likes of that. We're going to loop either Iongi or Savala, I'm thinking, and Purdue. It's going to be a tough one. I think what we can do is we'll just see what Iongi dishes up against Newcastle, and then go from there. While Purdue has been great this season, look, he can go really well against Manly as well. So the other thing is, as well, as I've just actually realized, is that I've forgotten about, is Nathan Cleary is still in our side and he is not playing. So we're going to move him out. We're going to move, I believe we should move Fletcher Sharp to starting in the halves. And then we'll move Tamale, I think, back here with that good matchup rather than the Doggies again that the Roosters are versing this week. Savala's been really, really good. So it's actually quite tough here what we want to do. But look, that's probably going to be something like that. We're probably going to loop Cleary and not Cleary, sorry. We're going to loop Yongi and Purdue, I'm thinking, but I will obviously consult Bentz, Mick, and Cord before we finalize this. And I don't know, as I said, make sure you stay tuned for the buy, hold, sell, and also stay by those our community messenger group that we have on Instagram as well. We'll post all our trades in there. And yeah, we'll just let you know whether we're going to go on the likes of Saifidi or Smith. But I think that's what we're going to look at for this week. And then potentially next week, we're going to have to make some moves. I think we could see the likes of Ponga and Isaiah Yeo potentially disappear. So if we turn the coach on, we can preview our team here for round 12. So you can see that Payne Haas, he is not playing round 12. So he is going to have to go. And this is where you're going to start to see that we've got a few issues here in the middles. So as long as Ola Kawatu doesn't get named for Origin, we've got our two edges there. We've got our two halves in Sharp and Fogarty, with Cleary definitely missing for Origin. We've got our centers in Katoga and Lucas. And now I believe Ponga will be selected for Origin. So he will have to go. He potentially could be sold for a middle, or we could go to Riley Smith another week later, but that might be starting to push it. So look, get in Marky Mark. Hope Kiraz isn't selected, and then we've got that right there as our team. So we are leaving a couple of players here on the bench that we do have in case. So say the likes of Kiraz gets selected for Origin, we can bring in Iongi here at the back. So look, and then if if Olakawatu gets picked for Origin, we can get in, say, Kiraz here. If he's not picked for Origin, and move Lucas up to Lucas into the second row. Another thing is if Tamale, if Kiraz is selected for Origin, we can get rid of him and then bring in the likes of Jenkins there. So if the likes of Kiraz, Pong is definitely getting picked. But if Olakawatu or Kiraz make their way into the blue side, we've got a bit of coverage there. So it's just going to be, I'd say, I think the trades next week are going to be, I'd say, Ponga and Yo out, and then we're going to bring in a couple of players to get that 13. Probably the likes of a Joe Tarpany and potentially a cheapie or a keeper option. So look, in terms of back to what we've got for this week, so we'll set our side back up quickly just for what we've got for this weekend. But what I'm thinking is for this week is that there are some really good players to get into your side this week. So I'm just going to fix this up quickly so no one gets confused and we know what we're doing this weekend and save the boys some extra work. So we've got all that. We're going with Saifidi for now. We're going to get Ponga in as well to start. Then we've got so we're just basically looping Iongi and Purdue. So if Iongi doesn't go well on Friday night, we'll bring in Purdue. I think we've sort of got to trust Savala and Marky Mark with how they've been playing the last couple of weeks. So that, in my opinion, is what the all-out team will look for next weekend. Captaincy, I'm not sure, but look, it's either a safe option in Haas and May every week. So that will be the way we probably lean. But yes, look, in terms of some other players that you can go ahead and buy this weekend, we've touched on already the likes of Riley Smith and Saifidi. Another option, he doesn't play round 12. And yes, you're probably thinking, no, not this guy again. But Brendan Piakura. Now, look, the last couple of weeks, he has been outstanding. One of the Broncos' better players, actually. 50 points in 80 minutes last week, and he's just getting through a lot of work. There are a few missed tackles there, but look, 50 points last week or not last week, the week before last at Magic Round in 80 minutes, and then 62 points last week in 80 minutes. And they've both been losses for the Broncos. So if he starts to get some attacking upside here with some tries or something like that off a Reynolds short ball, I know there's probably some people with some PTSD there from what Piakura did to us all last year, but it's hard to ignore his form at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, 50 and 62. I know he doesn't play next week, but if you're a head-to-head player and don't play the bye rounds or overall, I think someone like a Piakura could get you a really good score this week against the Dragons and be one to feature for your side in the coming weeks. Look, he does miss this week. Unfortunately, he only plays one of the major bye rounds in round 18, so he's not going to be the greatest bye round player. But look, there's definitely some money to be made there from Piakura. If he goes out and let's say he's got a 62 and a 50, whatever it was, if he goes out and gets a 55 this week, he's getting 74K. I just think between Ricky and Piakura, I'm thinking that with what we've seen from Piakura thus far in these last couple of weeks, it looks like Madge is really liking him there at that in the second row. And as it seems, Willison's gone back to the into the middle rotation there with Ricky playing 80 minutes last week. So yeah, look, I think that Piakura is definitely one that you guys want to have or keep your eye on. And then another man that's started to flourish here. He was a gun a few years ago when he was, I'd say 3 or 4 years now, when he was back at the Eels. But Isaiah Papali'i, look, he's been playing in the middle for most of the season. But now, for some reason, the last couple of weeks, Ivan started to wake up and realize we got to get this man back out on the edge. And look, didn't have the greatest performance against the Broncos, but the good thing there is the 80 minutes. And then he played the full 90 minutes last week. He did score, but I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Like I said with Piakura, luckily for Isaiah Papali'i is he actually plays next week, but he has the bye this week. So it could be someone that you trade into your side next week if you need an edge. But yeah, look, that's a real good solid option there with Isaiah Papali'i. 72 points is no mean feat or nothing to sneeze at, should I say. And look, he unfortunately only plays the one bye round, and that is round 12. So that's something to monitor there with Isaiah Papali'i. But look, there's some money to be made there in a couple of weeks. Look, 25 break even. He gets obviously not going to get any money generated this week because he's on a bye. But in the coming weeks, he can get a bit of money flowing. You probably want him to be getting like around 50, 60 points every week if you're buying him in at that price, because he is 544K, so a lot more expensive than Piakura that we just touched on. But he does play next week, so if you need an edge, he's one to look at. Now, Jerome Hughes, ladies and gentlemen, he has truly now bottomed out. Had a good performance last week with his 60 points in that absolute thrashing of the West Tigers. Sorry about that, West Tigers fans. And look, they've got match of the round this weekend that Sam from Wobble and Jaw Sports and myself will be calling here on YouTube. So you guys can tune into that. But yeah, 60 points from Jerome Hughes, break even of 29. So that's starting to really get down. And if you need a half or you want to potentially sell Nathan Cleary and you get him back after the Origin period, I think someone like Jerome Hughes is going to be a really good purchase for your side. Look, if you're getting 50 points from him, you're going to get 23K this week and then another 20K in round 13. I guess the only negative here with Jerome Hughes is that he doesn't play next weekend. So a few players that I have touched on that aren't playing next week. But look, if you're playing head-to-head and no bye rounds, these are some stunning players. Same with the Centurion from the weekend, Pappenhausen. I think the Storm are really starting to find their form. And if you haven't got Pappenhausen in, look, 19 break even this week. He's got the goal kicking these past, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks. And his performances have really increased. Look, if you're getting like a 39 and 42, that's not the worst, but you're getting some big upside here. As you can see, he's actually kicked since round 5. So he's kicked 3, 4. So he's kicked the last month and a half, basically. and he's getting a lot of points from it as well. So look, Pappenhausen, definitely one to look at. Again, as I said, they don't play the bye round next week, but look, he should continue to do well if you need a wing fullback. Into the next player. Now, this player actually does play the bye rounds, and with the injury to Nicholson, Matt Nicholson, unfortunately, it looks like Zach Hosking is going to be the guy that is going to benefit from Nicholson's injury here. I think Nicholson's looking like he could be out for a few weeks. I'm hearing 6 to 8 weeks for Nicholson here that the physio was reporting this afternoon. So 6 to 10 weeks actually. So we'll get some. Hopefully, we get some official news before tomorrow's TLT. But look, Zach Hosking, he got 58 points on the weekend, and he sort of benefited, or Nicholson, should I say, benefited with Hosking going and getting injured himself. So he's come back, and the last few weeks he's only been playing 40 odd minutes, but he's been really good in those stints. So look, 8 against the Dolphins, if we exclude his first week back from injury. So we've got the Dolphins 48 points in 45 minutes, 38 points in the Storm in Magic Round last week in 47 minutes. And then last weekend, he was great. Started at prop, 62 minutes and got 58 points. He did go over for a try, but with the injury to Nicholson, I think Hosking's going to come back in onto that starting spot there for the Raiders and start to get those scores that we started to see at the or when the season kicked off, 62 points in round 1 and then 53 points in round 2 with those high 65 to 70 odd minutes. We could see 80 from him potentially. We'll just have to see what Ricky does, but you're going to get good minutes like you did last week with Hosking. And the good thing is the Raiders have got a good matchup this week against the Titans, and they've also play the Warriors in the first major bye round next week of round 12. So he is a great option for you guys, for your overall players, for players that we've touched on. And then the last man that I'm going to touch on this evening here is Isaiah Katoa. Look, he has just been absolutely unbelievable thus far this season. And he's got, 70 points last week and 67 points the week before. So, look, he is absolutely killing it, Katoa. So you've got to be really happy with a performance like that from him. So, yeah, look, 67 points and 70 points the last couple of weeks. That's elite half stuff from Katoa. Look, I'm really thinking that he can continue this great form. Look, he's plays the major bye round. I guess the only negative is he doesn't play the round after the major bye round in round 12. So that's a bit of a negative. But look at these scores here. Like, these are some really, really great scores. 70 points, 67, 46, 60. And look, they're versing the Warriors this weekend out at Suncorp. So, look, Katoa, if you're looking for a half, like I said, Hughes is another good option, but he doesn't play that major bye round. So, look, if you need a half, I think Katoa for that major bye round is a good option. If you don't have, like us, you don't have Sharp or Fogarty. So look, they're the options that I'm really looking at this week in terms of players to get in. We've already touched on Riley Smith and Saifidi. They're good options, and we ourselves are looking at getting both of those or one of those guys in this week. With, at the moment, I've decided to get in Saifidi for the all-out team. So yeah, that is basically the fantasy wrap-up of this Monday night with Door session. Quickly just touching on the NRL, and then we'll preview Origin, and then we'll call it a night for this week. I will try to get some guests on in the coming weeks, but for now, it's just you and I, guys. So, look, last week, Friday night was a great game. The Dolphins taking on the Eels. well, you got to be very happy as a Dolphins fan, and pretty. I guess you got to be proud, but at the same time, pretty upset. The Eels have shown a lot of heart the last couple of weeks, and they've gone down in two close ones. So look, it's a big positive for the Eels as they've got a very young side. But look, unfortunately, they're still at the bottom of the table. Then we went to the Knights and Titans, and this is where the hoodoo really started. Basically the Knights went out to a 20-0 lead there, and the Titans just decided to come straight over the top. They did manage to get some one try before the break, but then they kept Newcastle to nil in the second half, and won 24-20. So very similar story to the Rabbitohs and Broncos. Broncos were up 14-0 in the first half, and then the Rabbitohs completely dominated the second half with that long-range 49-meter field goal to Latrell Mitchell, proving to be a real highlight of the weekend and an absolute horrible horror movie for myself and my Broncos. And then they were only up 2 because of that field goal, and then he did the sneaky move from dummy half there to score to put it out 22 points to 14. And it continued the hoodoo of teams barely scoring in this, or not scoring in the second half after dominating the first half, with the Raiders going up 20-0 at halftime, and then the Bulldogs scoring 32 points unanswered in the second half. So that was an unbelievable showing from the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs there. And the Raiders, look, they'd be absolutely ruining that performance in front of a sold-out GIO stadium. 8-1 the Bulldogs are, so they are absolutely killing it thus far this season. Then we moved to the Saturday night 5:30 game, and it was the Dragons taking on the Warriors. And just like the Dragons have the last couple of weeks, the Dragons weren't able to get the victory, but again, they've lost a close one. They've lost the last few weeks by small score lines, so a bit rough for them. But yeah, Luke Metcalf's field goal there was the real highlight for the Warriors last weekend. And then we had the 90-minute draw up in Townsville again, a game of really two halves, but not really as bad as the other ones, as you can see here. Look, Panthers had 3 tries in the first half, and the Cowboys had 2. So yeah, really, to be honest, not really like the other games. But look, it was a great affair, great goal kicking, some absolutely unbelievable tries. Blaze Talangi had definitely his best game in a Penrith strip, and I believe he got 6 Daily M points. So he got the full allotment of points there, did Blaze Talangi. So good on him. And then we saw 64-0 from the Storm. The Storm absolutely firing on all cylinders on Sunday afternoon down in Melbourne. And yeah, that is probably the worst performance from the West Tigers thus far this season. As Benji said post-game, they just really didn't show much fight that they had basically had throughout the whole season thus far. And they just sort of switched off, and the Storm were just absolutely red hot. And like I touched on before, congratulations to Ryan Pappenhausen for breaking the Melbourne record for most points in a game, 36. He did ton up in fantasy as well. So congratulations to you, Pappy. And it was just unbelievable considering that scoreline that Tyrrell May still managed to get 64 fantasy points. So he is just an absolute machine. Now we went to the Sunday afternoon game of Manly taking on Cronulla, and the Sharkies at Four Pines produced the upset and took down the Manly Sea Eagles here, who sort of, since the Daly Cherry Evans announcement, have really started to struggle these, say, past month and a bit. So hopefully for Manly fans, they can start to find some form again. But look, they were absolutely very, very poor yesterday against the Sharks. And look, Nico Hines has been really, really good for the Sharkies. Look, fantasy wise, he's just been getting around those 50, 60 points, but you take that every day of the week if you're getting around 50, 60 points. And with, him likely not to get it, I'd say it's very, very likely that he doesn't get an Origin jersey. He's definitely another player that we can definitely, that I should have mentioned just before, but definitely can mention now as someone that you can pick up. Look, 51 points last week. He's basically getting like 50, 60 points, as I said just before, the last few weeks. As you can see here, look, 51, 56, 60, 59, 50. So he's been very consistent. And look, they play the round 12 bye next week against the Chookies. But unfortunately, just like Isaiah Katoa, they don't play the week after the bye. So he plays 2 of the major bye rounds. He does miss round 18 as well. So look, Nico Hines, another great option there. But look, the Sharks are going very well up to 5th on the competition ladder. So yes, congratulations to them. As you can see, the ladder here. Look, the Bulldogs absolutely stunning. 8-1 thus far through this season, and that was that one loss to the Broncos. Look, the Wars have been terrific. Even though they've only got that points differential of 1, they are 7 wins and 2 losses for the season. So they've been terrific. The Storm bounced back. The Raiders, unfortunately fell with that very poor second half effort. Sharks are moving up. The Cowboys get that 1 point from that draw. So did the Panthers down below, but that doesn't really help the Panthers. It helps the Cowboys leapfrog a fair few teams. They're 1, 2, 3, the 5 teams on 10 points. So, good on the Cows there. And the Broncos, they moved down to 7th after back-to-back losses to the Panthers and South. Manly moved down after that loss to the Sharks. Roosters had the bye, so they're moving up. They were down near the bottom there, 15th, 16th, around there. But the last couple of weeks have been, obviously had the bye last week. And then the few weeks before that, they've been terrific. Tigers, after that heavy loss, they've fallen down to 10th. The Rabbitohs, with that great comeback victory against the Broncos, move up to 11th. The Dolphins are 12th. They've been very good this season, and their points differential is plus 10. So they've got a pretty good points differential, the Dolphins, showing that they're not losing games by very much, and they're really staying in the effort. They have had some big scalps thus far this season in Panthers and the Storm as well. So look, the Dragons, as I said before, they just seem to lose the games in a close one. So that's unfortunate for them. Newcastle, look, they've only scored 122 points for the season. It's definitely improving the last few weeks in terms of their point scoring. But unfortunately, they're not really registering enough wins in McDonald Jones Stadium is a real heartland and a place where the Knights normally play very well at. And the last few weeks, they've really they unfortunately don't have the best record at McDonald Jones thus far this season. Now, with that Titans victory over Newcastle last week, with that special second half comeback, they got the 2 points and moved just up behind Newcastle due to that for and against there. So they're in 15th. The Panthers, they got that 1 point from that draw, the 30-all draw against the Cowboys. And then we've got the Parramatta Eels there in last. But look, it's definitely one of the closest competition ladders that I can remember. So it's been an absolutely stunning season, and let's hope it can continue. Now, to the last segment for this Monday Night with Dor is my Origin team. So I've got them here for you, or got them both sides here at the moment. And this is what I believe, not who I'd personally pick, but this is what I believe the teams will be for Maroons versus the New South Wales Blues coming up in a couple of weeks' time. If I can, no, unfortunately, that's all right. We were on the draw. We'll try and find here we go. We got Oh, never mind. I've hit the ticket tech to go and buy some tickets. But here we go. Yeah. So 8:05 at Suncorp Stadium, game 1. I will be there. We've got the Blues at $1.87 favourites and the Maroons at $1.97. So look, these are my teams or my players that I'd be picking. With the injuries to Walsh, And look, Ponga he wasn't great last week, but unfortunately, he's probably the only fit fullback outside of if they move the hammer there. So I've got Ponga at the back. I've got Xavier Coates. He was absolutely tremendous on the wing for the Storm on the weekend. And Murray Taulagi, should I say, from the Cowboys. I think he's been great the last few weeks as well, or month, should I say. I've got Hammer and Valentine Holmes. Look, Valentine Holmes has been a bit iffy this year. But I just think that he's going to be selected. As I said, this is not the team that I'd pick, but this is who I reckon will be picked. Billy Slater is going to pick for round one. I think we've got Munster and Cherry Evans in the halves. Look, Munster's starting to come good. Cherry Evans has been a bit poor the last few weeks. So, look, once he puts on that maroon jersey, he will start firing. We don't have to worry about that too much. Look, this one's going to probably interest a few people because Ruben Cotter hasn't really had the greatest season, but I think what he's done when he's worn a maroon jersey, and his form hasn't been horrible. He's just been, a bit consistent, bit of a plotter thus far this season, but we know that Cotter will get a job done when he puts on the maroon jersey. So him and Carrigan would be my props. Harry Grant, he's returning reportedly this week for the Storm. So Harry Grant there at hooker. I believe that Bo Firma will make his debut for the Maroons. He might not start, but that's just my sort of inkling that I reckon that Firma and Nanai, look, he was dropped at the start of the season, but I have got Jeremiah Nanai on my starting second row, and he has been absolutely tremendous for the Cowboys, especially the last few weeks. And then we've got Big Tino. God, Tino has just been absolutely outstanding thus far this season. And look, he is just a huge addition. I think he's the biggest addition for Origin as a whole this season for both sides. I know Cleary's back and whatnot, but no, I think that what Tino does for Queensland and what he brings to the table, I think he is the biggest addition to State of Origin for this year, hopefully that he can get through the game on the weekend. And then now with the injury to Ben Hunt's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So Tom Dearden, who's been in absolutely outstanding form as well, will come in as the 14. Corey Horsburgh will return to the Origin arena. He's been absolutely outstanding. Again, didn't play last week due to the HIA suffered at Magic Round, but I think that Horsburgh definitely deserves to be there. Now, Lindsay Collins, I've got there as returning on the bench, just like Harry Grant. It is reported that Lindsay Collins will return to the Roosters team this weekend. So, yes, we'll see Lindsay Collins in a maroon jersey, I believe, if he's fit to go. And then this one, it could have been Jaden Sewer, but I believe that Billy's going to go with Tom Gilbert. Look, he hasn't been very good on the edge, but if he can play in the middle and he can switch to the edge if need be. And then we've also got Firma in the side that has played center a few times this year, so he can move into the centers or the back line if need be. Lastly, I've got 18th man. Look, it would have been Dearden, but with Hunt injured now, Dearden moving into the 14. I think Kurt Mann's form for the Bulldogs has been really good this season, and I reckon this one's a bit of a long hop. I don't know if Billy Slater will go that, but that I think in terms of versatility and utility value, Kurt Mann is the 18th man for me. Now, for the Blues, I think they'll stick strong with Dylan Edwards at the back. Lomax is set to return just like Harry Grant and Collins for the Queensland this week. I think that Lomax is set to return this week for Parramatta, and he hopefully will get through the game and play well. I think New South Wales is going to try and pick and stick to as many players as possible, as well as also rewarding a few players on form. Now, look, it could be Latrell, or should I say the other winger is Brian To'o. Look, he's only going to have the one game before Origin. He played that one game against the Cowboys last weekend, and then with Penrith having the bye this week, I just think that To'o is one of the best wingers in the comp, if not the best. Four-time champion, and look, they won Origin with him last year, and he on his day is absolutely tremendous. So for me, if Lomax and To'o, a bit of uncertainty there, but I think they'll be named and they will be good to go for the Blues. Now with the centers, you could either go Turbo or Latrell. I think Latrell is going to get it after his performance on the weekend, and I just don't think, if I'm judging from what Tommy Turbo has been putting out these past few weeks, I just think he's still injured, unfortunately. He's just really not moving well. So for me, I hope they name Tommy Turbo, but I think they will be naming Latrell there in the centers with Stephen Crichton, who, look, he was on 3 fantasy points at halftime, and then he absolutely came out and killed it in that second half and ended up with 65. So he scored 62 points there in that second half. So, look, credit to him, and he is definitely a must pick or a certainty for the Blues. And then, look, Moses or Luai, for me personally, I think Moses. I think Moses has been really good for Parramatta since coming back. And while, the Tigers are definitely going better than Parramatta, I think I know that you've got also the Luai and Cleary partnership, with the Panthers. This is the first season they're apart, but I think you just got to pick the best players. And I think Moses, he was outstanding for the Blues in Game 3 last year. I think that he is definitely the man to partner Nathan Cleary. We don't need to talk about Nathan Cleary. It speaks for itself, that selection. He's really started to fire the last few weeks. And yeah, he is just a certainty for the Blues. Now we've got Haas and May. I think these ones sort of speak for themselves. You could see May maybe named on the bench with Barnett starting. But for me, I think you've got to have that Haas and May combination out there to begin with. And then you can bring that firehead, big Mitch Barnett off the bench. So that'd be my props. Reece Robson is my hooker. I think he's been great for the Cowboys thus far this season. Didn't have his best game against Penrith, but the weeks before that, he was outstanding. Now, I think this one, again, is going to be a bit interesting. But Hudson Young has been absolutely outstanding, and Liam Martin has started to return to form the last couple of weeks as well. And I just think if you're going with the likes of Young, Martin, and Crichton, I think that Crichton's got the best versatility or bench impact. So I'd be starting with the likes of Young and Martin. Lock speaks for itself with Yo. The utility, the 14, I've got Connor Watson. I think he's been in pretty good form thus far this season. And he was as well the 14 last year. So I think that Connor Watson will be selected there as the utility value. Then we've got Mitch Barnett, as I was touching on before, could start, but look, he's been in very solid form for the Warriors thus far this season. So I think he will definitely be named in the 17. Then, like I just touched on before, with Crichton having that bench value, I reckon, or most impact, he will join his clubmate. Look, Spencer Leniu, he hasn't had the greatest season thus far, but he is one of those players that if you want, like a 20 and 30 minute, absolutely unbelievable stint of just absolutely going hell for leather, Spencer is your guy. So he will be putting in a short but very sharp stint for Spencer Leniu. And then I just think for utility value wise, I think Matt Burton he hasn't been in the best form since coming back from injury. But look, he started to return to form in that second half onslaught against the Raiders on the weekend. So, yeah, look, that is my Origin teams for round 1, but we will have more people on next week. And we can really go into Origin talks because the team should be named before Monday night with Dawn next week. So, look, hopefully everyone really enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. Let us know your New South Wales or Queensland team for round 1 in the comments. Also, if you've got anything that you'd like to see in this show moving forward with Monday Nights with Dawn, also let us know in the comments. Yeah, no. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, you give us a like on all our social media pages on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube, and then also subscribe to that YouTube if you haven't done so already. But look, that will be it for this week's Monday Night with Dor. I hope everyone enjoyed, and we will see you next week for a bigger and better episode 2 of Monday Night with Dor. So we'll see you then. Cheers.